Question 3. We will begin with Mr. Marsh. How would you resolve the conflict between the interests of downtown businesses and the homeless who congregate there?
Well, I've been involved in homeless ministry before. Years ago, I had opened my home up to run a shelter out of it. I have a lot of experience in that area. And I got to tell you that this is not something that the city can do. I think the city can provide some leadership, but right now we already have quite a few people who are willing to help the homeless, and you can find them through your local houses of worship. Now, I understand that from talking to some of those people, there's a bit of an adversarial relationship between the city and some of those that want to minister to the homeless. And I think that, it's time that we do is that the mayor makes those people feel like they are welcome to participate in this. I've known a lot of homeless people who have made their way back into society, and almost every single one of those people did it through the relationships of people that were ministering to them, whether it was from a church or a synagogue. It was somebody that basically grafted them back into real life. This doesn't get done by filling out the right forms. It doesn't get done at a one-stop place where the homeless woman with a hungry child and the drunken derelict basically share the same facility. There is not a one-size-fits-all approach to this. It takes a lot of hands involved. And you really need to invite those people to work with the homeless who are most inclined to do it. And right now, there's a lot of ambivalence about what their role is. And I don't think that that's going to change as long as the city seems to think that they know best about how to take care of the homeless.
Thank you. Mr. Selwack?
I understand the problem that we're having downtown. A lot of the downtown businesses, it's a large burden for them to bear, panhandlers and homeless people. And a lot of people are afraid to go down to the plaza with their children, because they see some of these homeless people and panhandlers. And I think that the solution is probably distributing the homeless equitably throughout our community so that the burden is just not downtown. And I don't think that the churches are doing their part. So I think that the churches need to go ahead and each church needs to actually take a few and instead of all being downtown. Thank you.
Mr. Angulo?
Thank you. I know with what I'm about to say, it's probably going to upset some people. The homelessness issue and the downtown area is actually a couple of issues that I've investigated pretty thoroughly. I think the first thing we need to understand is that homelessness is a social issue in this city, and the downtown issues are an economic problem. As far as the homelessness issue, I think that a lot of the service providers that are in the city need to begin a collaboration where they can provide services adequately for many of the homeless residents that live in or are in that area. And through them, I think we can find better solutions. As far as downtown, I think increased patrol will help curb some of the crime that's present in that area, as well as try and initiate a type of cleanup to make it more attractive for the community residents. And I think a lot of time has been wasted equally between the advocates for the homeless and the city commission, a lot of time and taxpayer dollars and constant debating with no real action. As mayor, I look to address this personally in both sides, both in the homeless community and in the downtown area, which I have been doing as a candidate. I've been in Tent City at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, as well as the downtown business district during lunchtime when all these issues seem to clash and collide. So I think a direct, aggressive leadership is needed to address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cooper?
Yes, I think this is one case where the city can do wonders in facilitating the solution to this problem. I think we have a mass of volunteers. We have the home van folks who are getting up at 4:30 in the morning. We have the churches. They are doing their part, but the discussion has too often been focused on limiting feeding and the one-stop shelter. What we need to do is focus on modeling programs that are working in other cities. We don't need to look to reinvent the wheel here. There are programs that do work. We need to bring those programs here and bring this group of people together. So many people are giving so many hours to find solutions for the homeless, the hungry, and the needy. We have the will, but I think the city in most cases recently has been somewhat getting in the way of the discussion. So I would say that we need to model what is already working. We should be able to feed everyone. I do understand the problems downtown, and I think once we have a program that we're working at very strongly and actively to bring these people out of the situation they're in, then that will bring a solution that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lowe.
Yes, this is a very complex problem, and in order to deal with it, we have to look at all of the ramifications. And actually, the impacts of homelessness have been reported to me from a number of downtown neighborhoods, not just the businesses in the central part of the city. But again, we have people who are in desperate need, and they do need help, and it is important for the city to provide a role, step outside of our designated role, because it is actually the county that is the designated social service provider in Florida, but we can't allow the void to go unfilled. We have moved forward with a plan that has been modeled on a successful program in another community, and that is the One Stop Center. Also, we have excellent volunteers in organizations like the Interfaith Hospitality Network. But we need to bring in more providers and encourage more people to provide services to more parts of the city, because homeless people are not just downtown. They are throughout our community. And we need to also work to bring in providers to the One Stop Center once it gets up and running, so that an individual who is homeless can get job counseling, can get medical counseling, and mental health counseling as well, substance abuse counseling if that's necessary, but and is also access to voicemail and email for the so that they can get back into society and transition out of homeless situation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for questions. I will now ask each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement, beginning with Mr. Selwack.
I'm Richard Selwack, and I'm going to focus on essential services, police, fire, roads, and parks, and I'm going to balance the budget. That's my main priority, and of course, I'm for clean air and clean water. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Angulo?
Okay. Thank you. Elected officials need to be held accountable, and the only way that can happen is if we have citizens that are engaged. As mayor, I hope to bring that to the city, so that way we can address and solve issues collectively, and you know where your tax dollars are going. Thank you.
Thank you.